Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a best of 5 series of professional StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a Zerg versus Protoss between two of North America's greatest pro gamers, two absolute channel favorites actually, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on Golden Aura. Spotting right here in the bottom right hand corner, playing with the blue Zerg drones. From Canada, we have none other than Scarlett. Her opponent in the opposite corner with the red Protoss pieces from the United States. We're looking, of course, at Astrea's main Nexus. Alrighty, this series was recently played during the North American regionals of the ESL Masters Spring. I think that's about the full tournament name, although there are a couple more words. I think it's the StarCraft 2 ESL SC2 Masters Spring Season, whatever. It's a very long tournament name, but this is certainly one of the very best series. I've actually been in a very weird turn of events, okay? So a couple of weeks ago, when the new multiplayer balance patch was first introduced, essentially all of the StarCraft replays broke, and I didn't really have a whole lot of games to cast. I was literally reaching out to pro gamers directly, being basically like, please sir, send me some replays, that would be awesome, thank you very much, right? That was basically me. This morning, I experienced the exact opposite, where they recently dropped this replay pack that has literally 100 plus hours of gameplay included in it. And I couldn't decide what game to cast. So a couple weeks ago, I had no replays to cast, so I literally had to reach out to pro gamers directly, and then today I couldn't decide what game to cast because there were so many great options. I literally spent like half an hour trying to decide what series to cast, and then I realized, Lowko, Astrea versus Scarlett, this is a no-brainer series. Everybody wants to watch a best of 5 series. I personally want to see what happened between these two legends, so I had a little bit of decision paralysis, I guess. That usually doesn't happen when it comes to StarCraft 2, but yet here we are. Anyways, that does of course mean that over the next couple of weeks, and really always, I'm gonna try and bring you the very best games of StarCraft 2 that have recently been played. So if you aren't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, it's the easiest way to stay up to date with everything that I do. Make sure you hit that sub button so you get notified as soon as those, well, future games go live as well. It's gonna be a Stargate opener right here for Astrea, straight into a Void Ray. Always a bit of a curious start. I consider this to be one of the weaker openers, but it's still obviously pretty dang good. The thing is, a 3.5 minute Nexus, that is exceptionally early. Alright, well the thing is, normally, right, on a map like this, it's very difficult for Zerg to figure out what they're playing against, and especially when it's a Void Ray first, there's really no way that Scarlett is gonna get any sort of scouting. She should have seen, I guess? Yeah, the timing right there of the Nexus. So that's gonna give her at least a decent understanding of what's going on. Overlord, by the way, trying to hide for its life. I think it's very unlikely that it will actually be able to escape, but Scarlett is trying to position that Overlord in such a way that Astrea will hopefully never find it. This is not usually the location where that Overlord would be going to, so apparently we're gonna be hiding in between the natural as well as the third base. A last resort right there for that Overlord. Nice early third Nexus though, so normal timing of this is at about 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Astrea being about 20 seconds earlier on it certainly did take a bit of a gamble, but I don't think there's a whole lot that Scarlett can really do about it. She is massing Lings, however, so maybe she believes that she can. There is an Oracle now going across the map, Void Ray all the way up north. Maybe she's thinking about actually breaking open the natural expansion instead. That is a lot of Lings though. Yeah, you need to justify making 30 Zerglings at this point in the game. Let's see. Yeah, very nice walling here, actually. Yeah, that Oracle is gonna have to go home. Okay, we're gonna go for a Stasis Ward. I wonder if we should just have that one home. Looks like a recall was actually used to try and get that Void Ray over here. The thing is, though, this is a very committed push, actually, from Scarlett. And so far, it hasn't really achieved too much. A bunch of drones did also... okay, get hit by the Stasis. Since the Lynx did not flood into the natural expansion and they only killed 4 workers, I actually don't think this is a very good start here for our Zerg. Good crisis management from Astrea. Yeah. Okay, well, this is actually really good as well by Astrea. Those drones being put in stasis, it's kind of hard to really quantify the economical difference, but this is those couple of workers earlier in stasis. Right now we have a whole lot more, so as soon as that income advantage updates, and as soon as those workers return to mining, I think life should be pretty good right here for Astrea, who's gonna go straight into a 4th Nexus. 6-minute 4th base off of charge slots with +1. Alrighty then. Charge slots, by the way, with +1, 2-shot Zerglings rather than 3-shot. So they really are going to pack a punch, but it is going to be roaches on the back of this too. Scarlett will likely have clicked on one of those zealots by now, and she knows that, well, there's already +1 upgrades done. Those roaches are gonna actually be critical. Zerglings and Queens would have a very hard time just fighting this. Alright, nice Ravager Cocoon over there too. That's really gonna derp out that path in quite a bit. Scarlett did go for a nice and quick 4th Nexus of her own. Hatchery, of course, and... well, what exactly do you do right now as Scarlett? Double Robo Facility on the back of this. Oh, yeah. Astrea is just... alright, macroing up like an absolute beast. I love these Astrea builds so much. They look so similar to what we normally see in StarCraft 2, but he really does have his own unique twist on playing the early game, and it's... yeah, it's really fun to see. So now we have Blink with +2 on the back of it, and we're chrono boosting out the upgrades with double Immortals also. Okay, coming up. No gas is taken, by the way, over at the 3rd base. Now, I think Scarlett, by the way, did get the memo here that something is a little funky. She just produced 14 drones all at the same time. She's gonna make Overlords for the remainder of the game. I indeed agree. I don't think you want to be pushing into this Protoss base. If those Lings were made earlier, maybe they could have cancelled the 3rd. If those roaches were built a little earlier, maybe they could have killed something. But I don't really... she's gonna test the waters here, but I don't think she has enough, does she? One of the problems, of course, here for Scarlett is that it is Golden Aura. And Golden Aura is a really lovely map to defend on, which may very well be the reason why Astrea has decided to open up the way that he has. Ultimately, though, for Zerg, this is just going to be Roach Hydra. Roaches with speed, Hydras with speed, +1 upgrades. Okay. It is going to... it's gonna have like a one... I think it's gonna have like 1 shot to really get a lot of damage done. Without a transition towards lurkers, this army is going to fizzle out over time, though. I think Scarlett, yeah, maxing out 1 time right here. She's gonna try and see if she can get some critical amounts of damage done on the other side of the map. We do not have any force fields. We don't really have a whole lot here for Astrea in general. I honestly wonder if this attack here from Scarlett is gonna be a little bit too much. The one thing she doesn't yet have is the ranged upgrade for those Hydras. Ravagers are coming. Colossi are also on the horizon, it seems. Maybe some Disruptors, but we're still a while away from that. Honestly, Astrea may just be caught with his pants down here. Yeah, those Immortals are going to be really powerful. Battery Overcharge is great, but I really love the split right here for Scarlett. A difficult map to split on, but she is getting it done. Hatchery in the bottom left-hand corner did get sniped. Good dodging right there of all of those biles for now. We really just need more bulk to this army, don't we, Astrea? I mean, so far, Scarlett is not really jumping the gun. Those Zealots on the other side of the map are really a thorn in her side. Queens are going to be hiding behind the mineral line as well to try and mitigate as much of that surface area as possible. Slowly but surely, though, okay, it is indeed going to be Disruptors. More and more Robo units are popping out of their facility. Queens, though, hiding behind the mineral line, do end up getting killed. Okay, the Immortal clump over here is getting in a ton of work, though. Ay. Roaches in the meantime? Okay, yeah, now they are starting to work through a lot of these units. I think this is okay here for Scarlett. Yep, I think it's more than okay. I wasn't sold on the Roach Hydra attack on a map like this. But I think Astrea just maybe a little too greedy, getting a little bit too much tech and not enough units in the process. Finding himself in a very awkward position. Right now, a 100 supply advantage here for Scarlett. Great decision making. Yep. I was a little concerned that it wasn't going to work out on a map like Golden Aura, but Scarlett certainly proved me wrong. Alrighty, game number 2. We find ourselves on the map Alcyone. Right from the get-go. Okay, I was wondering why that probe was out so early. Right from the get-go, we've got ourselves a very interesting dynamic. As Scarlett wants to go for the gold base first. Astrea, however, already being a nuisance over here. You'll love to see it. A little bit of rock, paper, scissors. This time around, it is won by Astrea. Yeah, I really like those Astrea builds. I think overall they're fun and they're strong too, but they just, in that previous game at the very least, they didn't really lead anywhere, right? So Golden Aura is definitely the most defendable map in the current map pool. It's certainly Astrea's map pick because it's, I think, like a 58% or so at the tournament level for Protoss versus Zerg. But it didn't really look like Astrea had any real timing attack or any sort of push in mind. So there was an early third base, there was a Void Ray first, we had charge slots quickly and they did kill a bunch of stuff, but ultimately it didn't really lead anywhere, right? A quick fourth base, sure enough, but if Scarlett would have known that it was going to be a quick fourth base, she could have been at like 90 workers a minute or two earlier than she was, and at that point it's going to be very difficult to halt the Zerg. So I like the strange openers, especially when they lead to a certain attack. And that's something that sometimes is a little bit missing. Now maybe Astrea just wanted to do that on Golden Aura, because that's a map, like I said, that's usually very defendable. But I think Scarlett's decision there to just power out drones at some point when she realized, wait a second, this is not actually going to be an aggressive attack right here from my opponent at all. I will just power out drones and just go good old Roach Hydra and see how you hold it. No shenanigans. I think a lot of Zerg players will probably be baited transitioning towards Lurkers. Maybe Brute Lords, at the very least Hive Tech, but yeah, Scarlett just good old Roach Hydra. I think against Lurkers, for example, Astrea would have been fine, because that would have allowed him another, well, 2, maybe 3 minutes or so of pumping out Immortals, and then suddenly the Immortal count is really dangerous. Alrighty, it's gonna be a Stargate opener. Void Ray first is what we had in the previous game. I think Void Ray first is a pretty mediocre build. It's great at not losing the game early on, I suppose, but it's not really good at anything, honestly. It doesn't really do a lot of damage usually. It's a strong build overall. It's just also one of those, like, I don't want to die to anything silly openers, but it's not like I really favor Astrea overwhelmingly against Scarlett in the later stages of a match. Maybe ever so slightly, but well, it is going to be a Void Ray once again. Yeah, I think Void Ray first is kind of a weak play, honestly. Because obviously you can make an Oracle on the back of it, but that Oracle is going to arrive like 45 seconds later. At best, this Void Ray is going to kill 2 Overlords. That's like a good day for that. It's not really that great. Unless you want to like hide something on the back of it. But if you're just going to go a Twilight Council follow-up and just, I don't know, a relatively passive game, I'm not in love with it. Nah. It denies all scouting, but Zerglings already went in. Scarlett once again hiding the Overlord. Very quick third Nexus, so that's nice. I'm hoping Astrea is going to lead this into a timing attack here, this time around. Alrighty. Very quick Evo chamber here, actually, from Scarlett. I'm assuming with this quick of an Evo, it has to go and research +1 melee? Yeah, okay, so the Void Ray got a Zergling kill. That's it. That's all we have. I don't know, I'm not in love with it. What exactly did this Void Ray achieve? It's here for keeping that base safe, but the thing is, if you want to keep the third Nexus alive, an Oracle literally does a better job and has a lot more utility later on into the game too. Okay, now this Oracle is gonna fly across, so that's the second Stargate unit. But what exactly is this Oracle going to kill? I mean, even if it does kill a couple of drones, killing a bunch of workers at 4 minutes and 45 seconds does not quite hit the same way as doing it a minute earlier. Right? Because percentually speaking, Zerg will have a lot more eco at this point in the game. So losing 2 workers is, yeah, not the end of the world. So I don't know. I'm not in love with Void Ray first, but it seems like a lot of pro gamers are enjoying it quite a bit. So they obviously know the game better than me, but I just can't really quite figure out exactly what the advantage is. They rarely get their money's worth over the course of the game. In my mind, like, the best Protoss players in the world right now are Hero and Max Specs. I don't remember the last time I've seen them go for a Void Ray first. And if they don't play it, I'm just, you know, yeah, you can reinvent the wheel, that's fine, but I'm usually not in love with it. Alrighty, so the follow-up right here from Astrea is going to be Stalkers together with +1. Blink is going to finish up nice and early. Scarlett, though, for that, yeah, going for that quick +1 melee. She's going to be able to get a ton of lings out here relatively easily. She's double expanding too, so an expansion over here at the 6 o'clock as well as one over at the 9 o'clock position. Creep spread looking good. As long as she has enough links, I don't think the Blink Stalkers are going to achieve much. 4th Nexus though, coming up nice and quickly here as well for Astrea. But obviously, you gotta be careful here as Astrea too, because if your Stalkers get surrounded, then there's certainly going to be a Zergling counterattack. Scarlett is going to see this base. Okay. Astrea will see the base over here too, but I don't think he knows about the expansion here at the bottom. Okay, this time around Scarlett is actually mixing it up. So rather than going for a big Zergling attack here and just making a ton of units, she's apparently decided to go for +2 together with an infestation pit. So I think this is going to be, yeah, straight into a hive and then probably lurkers. Enough Zerglings here to not die. Whereas Astrea is just happily macroing up once more. So we're going into Storm this time around. Together with Charge, together with +1. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of these passive openers, if I'm being honest with you. Like, Scarlett is playing quite respectable here, right? She's respecting her opponent. But when you're gonna play this passively, I feel like at some point you're gonna face a Zerg player who will literally go like 90 workers before really making any army. At which point you just lose. Like, there's a bit of an agreement here that Zerg at some point is gonna make army too, you know? But there really hasn't been a necessity to make army. So it works here because Astrea, yeah, has got like the meta of Protoss working for him here, but it... This can really be punished pretty hard. Ultimately though, Protoss is finding himself right now in a really nice position. We've got ourselves the Nexus here done, fully saturated, double robo, Storm is going to finish. Astrea could be in some trouble against like Mutas, for example, at this point in the game, but it looks like since that is not the case, yeah, he's gonna be a little more adventurous out onto the map. Looks like it's gonna be Brute Lords together with Lurkers, by the way. So the ultimate anti-ground unit composition. I almost wonder if that's a little bit too much. Maybe this is just in case it's a big Skytoss transition here. Scarlett has not really seen exactly what's going on. At least that's one of the things that Void Ray does achieve. I actually think a big attack right now, as soon as those Lurkers finish up, or at the very least as one of those upgrades finish up, it's gonna be really tricky for Protoss to hold. Now here's +1 coming up for the air units. We have ourselves a fleet beacon building. So Astrea is basically not planning on attacking at all. Interesting choice. I've been really loving that swarmy approach that a lot of Protoss players have been taking lately, right? Where they're the ones effectively trying to swarm the Zerg. Low gas and just loads of units in general. And I kind of felt like that's what Astrea was going for in game number 1 initially. But instead we're getting a very passive style of Protoss. Okay. Adrenal Glands coming. Greater Spire morphing in. We have the Burrow upgrade coming up as well for the Lurkers. Okay. Let's see. Scarlett is inviting Astrea to play. Don't think it's really going to happen. This is a very cursed looking wall off, by the way. Fully upgraded Zerglings are gonna have an easy time. Although these guys are not fully upgraded yet. That's a lot of zealots. A couple Stormy Boys show up too. Mama Ship comes up. In the meantime, I think Astrea's gonna be able, he's gonna be able to hold this easy peasy. I mean, Lurkers are scary, but they're gonna take about 7 years going up that ramp. I don't think it's really going to achieve all too much. Interesting passive approach here from Astrea. Very different than what I was anticipating. Kind of reminds me a little bit of that that Zerg style we used to see a lot. And I guess the Terran style we still see quite a bit, where they're happily turtling. Maybe this is Protoss' turn to do a little bit of turtling. A few Banelings were now also brought to the front. Adrenal Glands is done. So those links are gonna hit very hard. Hello? Astrea? Hell, Astrea? Okay. No reaction at all. Void Ray there, coming in hot. Big Zealot run by as well, though, towards the other side. Lings are suddenly everywhere in every base. Astrea clearly busy trying to work with that main army. Cloaking field could be kind of nice here, but I don't think the mothership really needs to activate it. Both players are losing a tremendous amount of workers right now. The charge of the zealots is getting in so much work. A couple spines here at the very least are gonna be quite annoying, but my god. Was this the plan all along? This kind of looks like a Zergling run by to me now. It kind of looks like Astrea saw an opportunity and decided to send in like a gajillion zealots. 43 drones just fell, by the way. I'm a little surprised with how clumsily that cleanup was from Scarlett, because she had lurkers. They were just not in the right position at all, but usually, right? As soon as lurkers hit the battlefield, those zealot run-bys are much harder to execute, but Astrea found a perfect opening there and decided to commit. I don't think Astrea can push into this, though. Yeah. I did see double Cybercore, so a bunch of upgrades here would be kind of nice. Already, though, Corruptors are coming together with some Vipers, ready to abduct these units. Lurkers have just been, okay, uprooted. I don't think there's enough now. No, these units were not burrowed in time. Big split here, ready to, I guess, try and deal with any sort of Zealot run-by, but there is no Zealot run-by. Normally, there would be a Zealot run-by up north right now, but Astrea is just plowing through all of those units. Carriers are queued up right now, too. These are some very strange games we're witnessing here. Upon losing the base, though, at the bottom of the map, Scarlett decides to tap out, and Astrea does it again with one of his very strange strategies. Alrighty, next up, we find ourselves on the map Oceanborn. Curious to see if Astrea is going to go for any switch up as well in this series. A lot of the Korean Protoss players in particular have been enjoying a lot of Twilight Council play. I would love to see some of that as well. In my mind, right? Okay. So it's gonna be a Stargate once again, and I'm assuming I'm gonna do a magic trick. You ready? Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum, bum-bum-bum. Is it gonna be a Void Ray? It will be a Void Ray first again, too. In my mind, Astrea is quite a tricky Protoss player, so he usually loves going for these weird build orders and these strange strategies, and he's been doing some of that as well in this particular series. Right now, seems to be like a new era of Protoss playing weird build orders with those Twilight Council plays that we've seen, for example, Classic, but Nightmare as well, and basically all the top-tier Koreans have been going for exactly that style. It's a tricky era of Protoss, and then Astrea is going Void Ray, or Void Ray first, rather, every single time. Which I don't love. Void Ray into Oracle into Twilight Council, I'm assuming. Yeah, it worked out in the previous game though, so maybe I shouldn't criticize it all too much. I just feel like at some point, so 10 drones just got queued up immediately right there by Scarlett. At some point, this is gonna fall flat on its face. But hey, today may not be that time. Alright, I would love to see Scarlett get very greedy against this. Because the previous games were a very clear indicator that Astrea is not planning on really doing much for the next couple minutes, other than harass you with a couple of ground units. Maybe 2 adepts or so, but that's really about it. You don't need a whole lot here to defend against these, well, units that Protoss has at this point in time. I would love to see glaives, but I think that'd be weird. Yeah, it's gonna be just good old Blink. Okay. So, of course, this is an important match, by the way. Maybe that's the reason why we see Astrea just going for his tried and true strategies. Let me have a quick little peek. Okay. Getting a drone there. Fair enough. Let me have a quick little peek and look at what the exact price pool is like for the American region. Okay, so it's a total price pool for this tournament of $41,000. So this series is from the ESL StarCraft 2 Masters 2024 Spring Americas. There you go. Very long tournament names, but a $41,000 prize pool. So that means that, of course, you want to bring your best strategies. This is, by the way, an elimination match. So this is the lower bracket finals. As both Astrea as well as Scarlett, they've already lost a series at this point in the double elimination bracket. So the loser of this series is out of the tournament. And I can imagine that is exactly why we have Astrea just going for his tried and true strategies. But I am missing a little bit of that trickiness that he usually brings. Looks like there's going to be a fourth Nexus up north. Early scout right there by Scarlett. Scarlett immediately expanding again too. Alright. So this time around, we do have a different follow-up here from Scarlett, as she decides to not go into +1 melee super early on. She didn't go for, like, very quick, I don't know, Roach Hydra or something like that. Instead, it's going to be Mutas. Mutas with Zerglings. Astrea just marching around the map a little bit. But relatively passively, right? Not really going too deep onto creep. Not trying to get a kill on a base. I'm assuming it's going to be Storm once more. Charge on the back of this. +1 ground on the back of this too. Yeah, this is the Protoss equivalent of I don't want to die to anything silly. We have seen many of those types of builds over the years though. Still a lot of moving parts. Very easy to accidentally be mispositioned. Double robo facility on the back of this too right here for Astrea. Stasis Ward, though, is gonna buy a lot of time, and that Void Ray that I've been criticizing, helping out with the base defense. Okay. I would imagine we're gonna see about a dozen Mutas here, all at the same time. Scarlett has been saving up. There we go. Alright, it's gonna be mass Muta. Very curious to see mass Mutalisk here. Mass Muta, because we do have +1 air weapons. Normally +1 flyer. Quite uncommon, but apparently Scarlett taking a page out of Darkspook. I would consider that to be like a 6 out of 10 opener too. Great scout right there as well by the Protoss. You know, sees this coming in from a mile away. I would love to see some defensive photon cannons maybe. For now, I guess we're gonna rely on just mostly Storm and Blink Stalker. It's not the strongest Zerg build to play, but it is definitely something that can catch a Protoss player off guard. It's a massive skill check. Super easy for Protoss to accidentally lose. So let's see how good Astrea is when it comes to dealing with all of this. Zergling run by up north, already causing a bit of havoc. Loads of workers are falling. Oi, 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 that Storm actually just finished off a whole lot of workers too. Even the Archon, normally the natural enemy of Mutalisk, ends up going down. And that's what I'm talking about. Great attack right there by Scarlett. The Mutas weren't even really necessary in that fight so much. It was mostly just Lings. But the entire Protoss army got split up because they wanted to defend against Mutas. Okay, Fleet Beacon starts up, second Stargate, and a Phoenix. The idea being that we're gonna go into mass Phoenix production here and get the Anion Pulse Crystals upgrade, which is additional range for Phoenixes. In theory, really strong, but it also is gonna take a couple minutes before it really gets underway. And in the meantime, yeah, oh my god, you can't do a probe transfer like that at this point. In the meantime, Zerg is gonna have all map control. Look at Scarlett's worker count right now, too. Yep. And this is brilliant stuff, honestly, here, by the Canadian Zerg. She's learned from the first couple games of this series what Astrea likes to play right now. And she's adjusted. And this is why we play series in StarCraft 2. This is why we don't let things decide, amongst many reasons. With just a best of one, for example. Yeah, this is really well handled right here by Scarlett. I love everything she's done here. Super greedy follow-up. This would have been countered, by the way, by just normal Protoss builds. So what we consider to be quote-unquote normal Protoss builds would have been too aggressive to, transition into this many Mutas and this many drones. But instead, Astrea has been countered. And that's gonna make the remainder of this series very interesting. Because I do not believe that Astrea is gonna be able to play a similar build once more. It's not entirely over yet. It's just that we're talking 3-base Protoss against, like, what, 6-base Zerg? At least it's coming. Massive economical advantage, massive supply lead here for Scarlett, significantly better upgrades. She's winning in every pillar of the game, and even though technically speaking Phoenixes are really good against Mutalisks, you're gonna need a lot. You're gonna need to get a lot of value right here out of those Phoenixes. Anion Pulse Crystals is finishing, but in the meantime, the entire Protoss base is gone. Alrighty, Ghost River is next. Scarlett is cooking up something. Could just be a 15 hatch on the low ground? No, it won't be. Okay. So this is a map that has a very quick rush distance. It's going to be a spawning pool first at 15 supply. Astrea needs to scout right now. Yeah. If this scout would not go across the map, he would be in a lot of trouble. Alright. I think he should be okay, but it's still going to be quite tricky to handle, because Zerglings early on do certainly pack a punch. Curious to see what sort of adjustments Astrea will go for, because I highly doubt we're gonna see the same strategy again. Yeah, certain builds in StarCraft are really good when the opponent plays the meta. So, there are certain quote-unquote agreements, right? For example, in this series, there are certain agreements where the Zerg is like, okay, I need to make units now because I know you could be sending 5 adepts alongside with your Oracle to my side of the map, right? So I need like 20 links at least. There are certain like decisions that you make based off of previous games that you've played. And I feel like Astrea in the first few games of this series has very much so played into that, where Zerg is making decisions not so much based off of what Astrea has actually shown, but because of what Scarlett should have had against quote-unquote normal openers. And that's usually just not that strong of a play. So we'll see. I don't believe, though, that Astrea can do the exact same thing again. Because Scarlett clearly seems to know what's up. Okay, probes get brought to the low ground. Zealot is going to finish up. Pylon also finished up in the main base, so an adept right now will be coming. A lot of lost mining time, though, which is really all that Scarlett is aiming for. Although this is quite an expensive opener, too. In the end, this was just 8 Zerglings, so not a massive flood. Drones on the back of it. Great control here so far, though, by Astrea, microing back those weakened workers. I think Scarlett may be able to get none? No, just 1. I think 1, maybe 2? Yeah, now the Adept is here. Great control right there by the American Protoss. Love it. Yep. Okay, so 8 links for 1 probe. A lot of lost mining time, though. Yeah, so despite the fact that Astrea has more workers at the end of this, Scarlett has been able to outmine the Protoss here. Because of the fact that, well, a lot of those workers weren't mining. Ooh. Zealot into Adept into Sentry. That means that there is no tech here. No tech whatsoever for Astrea. I guess this has to be a Twilight Council follow-up, or maybe even a Robo Facility. Robo Facility into Immortals could certainly work. Oh, 3 minutes and 30-second Nexus? Dangerous decision-making here by Astrea when your tournament life is on the line. Here's the problem. He doesn't know when link speed started. So in this case, link speed is quite late. He did see the gas. I don't know if he spotted the exact timing of the moment that Zerg decided to take the gas. If Scarlett makes a big round of links here, she could easily kill that 3rd Nexus. There's basically nothing. There is 1 Zealot, 1 Sentry, and 1 Adept. That's it. Those units are no match at all for a big swell of Zerglings, but I think Astrea is going to be able to get away with it. Now it's a Twilight Council indeed inside of the main base. Okay. Tricky map, of course, here as well for Zerg overall, it seems. Because it's such a predetermined expansion layout. You only have 1 location for your 3rd. Although I keep saying that, I don't actually know if it's true. Ghost River, Liquipedia. Let's see, what's the win-loss ratio at the pro level? Yeah, it's about a 55% advantage for Protoss on this map against Zerg. So really not super significant. But still, certainly Astrea's map pick. Lair coming up at a reasonable time. A little early maybe, but that's alright. Roach Warren together with an Evolution Chamber here at the front. Okay. So a relatively normal transition it looks like here from Scarlett. Obviously the 3rd Nexus, or the Zerg Nexus rather, is relatively late. With that delayed hatchery, I guess a slightly quicker lair is not a bad choice. Alright. Interestingly enough, it's gonna be straight Blink. Blink I actually find an interesting choice here. I feel like Astrea has been playing a lot of Blink, but not a whole lot of Stalkers. Usually whenever we see Protoss players play Blink in this matchup, it almost seems like they're playing StarCraft 2 mana battles, where you can only make one unit. But that's not really what Astrea is doing with these Stalker builds. Okay, double upgrades are gonna be on the horizon too. I'm assuming we're gonna see a quick 4th Nexus as well. I mean, we're gonna need to be able to warp in at least a bunch of units, but a rather greedy build here from Astrea. But I think he's able to get away with it. There's the 1-1. Zerg did make a bunch of Roach Ravager. And this is that group of Roach Ravager that really doesn't do much. So this is that agreement Roach Ravager group, right? Like, because normally this would be the moment where Protoss starts roaming the map. Maybe we're gonna see some Stalkers, but this is not really... I mean, I don't think you want to move with this army. Because if there's a large number of Zerglings, you just get absolutely torn apart. And losing sentries here would be very costly. Scarlett making a big round of units here. But not enough to really commit to an attack. And that's kind of my issue with it, right? This is very much so like a macro group of links, where she's trying to just stay alive against a big timing attack from Protoss. I don't think Astrea really is capable of going for a big attack here, though. This is a very uncommitted push. Yeah, instead it's a 4th Nexus right now over on the left side of the map. This is just a little bit of creep clearing. I wonder what would have happened here if Scarlett decided to go for a big Queen March. This is way too aggressive, Astrea. Yeah, I don't like this at all. So the recall ultimately did allow most of those Stalkers to escape, I suppose. And a lot of the creep was denied. But imagine if Scarlett was actually cooking up a big attack. Oh, she's going Swarm Host. Okay. That is also a very strange thing, man. The North American server games are always so wild to me. Going into Swarm Host right now? It feels so late, but we're going mass Swarm Host. Yeah, 15 Swarm Host. Wow. So a Link Flood early on into a Swarm Host switch. Alright, it's a bold move, Scarlett. Let's see if it pays off. Normally, Swarm Hosts very much so have a timer, where if Protoss gets up to like 100 army supply or so currently they're sitting at 53, but if Protoss goes up to like 100, Swarm Hosts usually fall off really quick. Astrea really isn't that far away from it, but Scarlett is ready to send in the units, and Astrea has no clue. I think the first time he's gonna see it is when those Locusts are gonna kill the Nexus in the natural. Robo Bay coming up, second Robo facility. Alright, well here we go. A big wave of Locust. There's nothing you can do. Nah, that base is toast. Deals so much damage. In the meantime, big Zerg push over here as well at the front. Zealot flank coming in from the bottom. Okay, Zealot's coming in as well through that choke point. Ravagers very much so far forward. Scarlett way overextended. I don't think she should be all the way out here. Reinforcing this with mass Roach. Yeah, I don't know why we, where are we going? Oh, that's so risky. Keep in mind that there is no Nidus Worm. So, reinforcing Roaches are going to show up, but I'm a little afraid for literally all of these Swarm Hosts. They have no support. The Locusts will be able to kill another base, but why did we move them here? What? More Swarm Hosts are coming up. It's not like she's trading them out for better units. No, she's actually just remaking them. Ay, 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 ay. A questionable decision, to say the least. Well, at the very least, the two waves, though, of Locust have been exceptionally successful. Yeah, killing two bases is really nice. But it would have been even better if she didn't lose literally all of those Swarm Hosts. Now we have, okay, 4 Swarmhost activating their Locust at home. That's never gonna achieve anything. At the very least, I guess Protoss will run. Yeah, she's actually going from Swarmhost into Swarmhost. Double expansion in the meantime on the other side of the map here for Astrea. Rebuilding those Nexi that were lost. I actually think Scarlett could have pushed for the win right now, and that would have been the series if she did not lose all of those Swarmhosts. Even if she just would have researched Burrow. Even if she didn't want to go Nidus Worm, sure, but at least have one way out for those Swarmhosts. I have no idea why they were over here, and then they shoot the Locust, and then they went that way? Like, what? There's nothing for them here. Okay. I do actually kind of like the idea of playing Swarmhost though on this map. Yeah, I guess you can technically play them without a Nidus Worm. So, here go the Locusts once again. Deja vu from just a couple minutes ago. Okay, Disruptor play also nice. I think the Nexus. Battery overcharge. Is it gonna keep it alive? I think it will not. Good save, Lowko. Professional commentator alert. Yeah, Astrea's still in a really bad position. But honestly, I think this is recoverable. I don't think this is terrible for Protoss. Thing is, 3-3 is going to finish up pretty soon. Scarlett's economy is really nothing amazing. And this is not an army that transitions well to really anything. So normally we see a transition towards Lurkers. But Scarlett is going Ling Bane instead, which feels really all-in-y to me. Okay. Let's find out. 3-3 though is gonna finish up right here for the Protoss ground. Locust once again activate their... I don't like those waves at all. Anyways, big roach push over here at the bottom. This is not the roaches that can really just be given up. Scarlett reinforcing this with Zerglings instead, but... like, if we are gonna have a bit of a throw in this series, I think this game could easily be it. Because this is one of those matches where as Zerg, you're like, oh my god, I am doing it! I've done so much damage, I've killed 3 Nexi, I have so many workers, it's been great! But then, big picture, you can't kill the army of the Protoss. Oh, Disruptor? Okay. Ooh, big hits. Your upgrades kind of suck. Your tech is mediocre. And you don't have a great economy yourself either. So this is... yeah. This is a game that can very easily be thrown, especially after all those Lurkers were donated. I would love to see Scarlett transition right now towards the Hive, together with Lurkers. I think Ling Bane is a very questionable choice. Love the fact, by the way, that Astrea is being as patient as he is. Mostly just trying to create distractions here, but really just macroing up. This Protoss army is not amazing, but, I mean, it's getting there. Fully upgraded Zealots are not to be underestimated. A 4 upgrade advantage, by the way, here, for Protoss. Obviously, Banelings can make short work of all of that. Scarlett's still spending money like she's never gonna run out. Locust Wave, once again, going towards the natural expansion. Banelings in the meantime. Astrea. Okay, does see it. Zealot run by in the bottom section of the map. Locusts in the natural expansion are gonna kill another base. Okay, that's a really good scout right there, and a really good snipe by Scarlett. Now the Hive starts up. I think if Lurkers would have already been here, the Banelings have done nothing. I think Banelings are too expensive here for this Zerg economy. They've done nothing. Oh no. Again. Not again. Come on. Ah. Okay, well, at least the Locust Wave just became available. So that is something. More Banelings here apparently rolling in. 13 probes go down. Astrea. Okay. Here comes Astrea, though, with a very large army. Like I said, 100 army supply is what you're usually aiming for here. Astrea now at 93. Roach Warren is gonna get sniped. Okay, very chaotic game. I love watching this sort of stuff, even though it's a little painful. Oh, nice Purification Nova there as well. There's no Immortals in the mix, which is an interesting choice. How do we have so much Robo, but no Immortal at all? So many Robo units. More Swarm Hosts are coming up. My god. Astrea is going up against mass Swarm Hosts. I mean, we're going back down to less than 100 army supply, though. Astrea doesn't have a Prism or anything like that. Main base in a world of trouble. Baneling Nest is gonna get sniped. Spawning Pool is gonna be dead. Yeah, and you know what? You don't really need force fields here, I guess. As long as you have a bunch of disruptors, you can just kinda keep the Zerg player honest. We do have a cheeky little Ling run by, but fully upgraded Zealots are gonna be quite powerful, and that's the Hive gone. Scarlett now reduced to 34 workers. Whew. What a game. Stalkers from the high ground. Yeah, I don't hate it. There is a creep tumor at least, so Scarlett is gonna have high ground vision. But that's a lot of workers falling. Recall is gonna be used on practically everybody. Sorry, you were not cool enough. I know, it sucks. So Lara just finished up again for Scarlett. I wonder if she's just gonna go for another infestation pit. Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think you just continue doing Swarm Host now. But the problem is, the age for the Swarm Host is over. Like, Scarlett is still busy making, like, medieval plate armor, even though gunpowder is all around. You know, like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. At some point, it is just not really worth your while anymore. But I also don't really see how she's gonna be able to transition towards anything else. Ay. Astrea, man. Astrea's so good at playing these weird, wacky games. That's why that you know, what is it called? Void Ray. The Void Ray openers kind of surprise me a little bit, because they just create these relatively conventional games. Astrea, definitely a master of wild and wacky games of StarCraft. Usually the hallmark of a great player, by the way. Everybody can be good in a standard macro game, but your skills really get tested when you're in a situation that you have never seen before, and this is certainly one of them. New Nexus. Is that the... Okay, no, the natural actually didn't die this time around. Okay. New Nexus coming up right here as for Astrea. Pretty far forward. Now we have a Nidus network! We should have made that literally 15 minutes ago. Okay, maybe 12 minutes ago, but still. Actually, more like 10 minutes ago, because the Swarm Host's initial wave was very late. Right now, though, we're talking 115 army supply right here for Protoss. And this is a fast-moving Protoss army, a good upgraded Protoss army, too. So I don't think you can really catch it with Locust waves. Nah. Scarlett rebuilding at the bottom of the map. It's a valiant effort. But I feel like at some point it is gonna fall flat on its face. How many Swarm Hosts have died? 33 Swarm Hosts have died, and we're all the way up to 12 here. So we're nearly at 50 Swarm Hosts in a single game of StarCraft. Huh. Well, there is an aggressive link forward. Yeah, now that those Locusts are on cooldown, it looks like the Protoss army is having a grand old time. Astrea, smelling blood in the water, gets it done. Scarlett has to tap out. Alrighty, game number 5. Final game in this best of 5 series. I feel like the series started off kind of slow. Started off maybe a little messy. I've enjoyed the last 2 games a whole lot more than the first 2. So, let's see what we can do right here on Amphion. It seems like both players are properly warmed up now. What are we doing, Astrea? Really, Astrea? Okay. Yeah, this is the Astrea I love to see. I don't even know what we're doing. I guess it's proxy gates. I think he's gonna put it all on the line right here for a bunch of proxy gates. Or with a bunch of proxy gates. Scarlett is actually gonna scout. Yeah, she's been... Oh! She's been hedge blocked so many times. Well, she was thinking about scouting. Oh my lord. Well, she should have. She should have moved ever so slightly further forward. Is it triple gate? Astrea made a full wall off at the bottom of the opponent's ramp. So now Scarlett sees it. No, she doesn't. She doesn't. She doesn't see it. That's a disaster. Actual disaster right here for Scarlett. Alright, Astrea has decided to take the gloves off. Yeah. This Protoss probe, by the way, is locked inside of the bases of the Zerg. No way for it to escape, other than, I guess, through these mineral walls, but it's got no way of really, well, mining more than one. There's 20 minerals in them each, right? So it would take a little bit. Okay. Zealots are being chrono boosted out. Oh no. Triple proxy gateway. We don't really ever see this against Zerg. Let's see. So the problem right here for Scarlett is that that natural is super dead, right? I mean, I don't even know if she should have finished it. Spinecrawler coming up in the main base. I think she should have cancelled it and went for a Roach Warren instead. Or I think she should have gone for a Roach Warren instead. Because Zerglings are not going to do anything. I mean, they're going to be kind of nice, I guess. So much mining already tonight right here by Astrea, who's just producing as many Zealots as possible. Obviously, this is one base play as well here for the Protoss. You know what? Those Lings are actually putting in a lot of work. I think the positioning right there of those Zealots was quite suboptimal. They got a lot more surface area, those Lings, than they were supposed to. Already, though, a lot of worker losses. No wall off at home, by the way, here for Astrea. That pylon should have been slightly further forward. Okay, well, ultimately, this is going to be a free kill on a hatchery. Yeah, Astrea doesn't really need to rush it. Roach Warren is coming. Scarlett already did mine 100 gas, so that's enough for 4 roaches. And she's actually gonna be facing a depth here momentarily. Okay. Just straight Nexus on the low ground, no wall off at all. Alright, Astrea. Giga Chat Astrea is what we call him. Who needs wall offs anyways? Just, well, I guess he did wall off. Yeah, he did wall off. The only problem is he walled off his opponent's natural. You know what? That works. I mean, Scarlett is going to be occupied here for quite a while. I think she can break out of all of this. Yeah, I guess losing all that infrastructure is going to be quite painful. Has Scarlett really taken enough damage at this point? Astrea did kill a bunch of workers. Economically, he's fine. But I don't think that that Stalker, or sorry, that Zealot ball was handled as perfectly as it could have been, to be honest. Especially the first wave. Only killing 6 Lings and 6 drones? Killing the hatchery, though, is really nice. I'm just concerned here, right? So say, for example, Scarlett now manages to kill these structures here from a distance. Ravager should be able to make work of that eventually. It's gonna be really quite tough to justify all of this. Okay, we will see a wall off over here as well on top of the natural expansion right here for Astrea. I think now a Void Ray follow-up is excellent, by the way. Because this is very likely going to be a counter-attack here, too, with a whole load of Ravagers. You don't know if there's going to be Link speed on the back of it. Oh, it's not going to be. It's going to be a Twilight Council. I think a Roach Ravager Link push here would be really dangerous. Then again, though, yeah, it's going to take a while before Scarlett will finish all of this up, and she knows that normally, right, these sort of cheeses are followed up with either Dark Templar or Void Rays. And obviously against either of those two options, a Roach Ravager attack is pretty terrible. I think this is one of those instances where she can actually get work done with a Roach counter, but the question is, does she know? The answer is no, she has no idea. There is an Overlord close by, but it hasn't really checked. Blink is going to be coming up, by the way, eventually. Great micro here by Astrea. Trying to keep those Stalkers alive, dancing back and forth. Good control as well, of course, here by Scarlett. But I'm loving the positioning here from Astrea. Okay. Good transfusion, though. A Ravager for a Stalker? Fair enough. Those gateways are never going to finish. Astrea's gonna have to remake those gates if he wants to continue producing. Robo facility in the meantime at home. Okay. So what do we do now? Where do we go from here? Both as Zerg as well as Protoss. I think Scarlett is just looking to play a bit of a macro game. It seems to me that Astrea will likely try and expand as well. Yeah. So there's the lair. We're gonna see a third hatchery here as well at the bottom of the map. Astrea already creating a wall in over here again too. Robo facility is finished. Where is it? Ah, there it is. Observer first. Bunch of gateways coming up. So that's actually quite a few gates. We're going up to 6. Mass Blink Stalker all in? I mean, it's certainly possible. Okay. Getting rid of that Overlord is not a bad choice. Difficult for Scarlett right now to know if that Nexus is taken. Yeah, she doesn't know if it's gonna be a taken Nexus right there on the left side, or if it's going to just be a bunch of Stalkers. I don't think Astrea really needs to make a choice. He could probably go for both. Depends on how committed he wants to be to those Stalker attacks. Okay, yep. Nexus coming up, and I think we are gonna see both. Stalker push now coming in from the left. No easy way for Zerg to get across these minerals. Pretty easy way though for Protoss, yeah, to maneuver around the map. Excellent little bit of blink micro right there from Astrea. Using that shift command really wonderfully. Always looks sick. Infestation pit coming up against for Scarlett. There's no way this is going to be Swarm Host play, right? Killing this base honestly is gonna be really good for Protoss. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, that's actually that's a kill and a half right here. That's really good. Because that is now forcing Scarlett into an all-in. She's going Swarm Host with Nidus again. She's actually just going, I don't think I love it though. I don't think I love it, because now it's 2-base Swarm Host. Okay. Astrea forcing the opponent to make moves, and I think he just saw the Swarm Host there as well. He definitely did see the Nidus Worm. Always a difficult call to make though. Okay, it's gonna be a Nidus Worm over here at the northern section of the map. Yeah, the Blink Stalker micro here is excellent. Astrea getting so much value out of this. All that practice of all-inning Terrans really paying off. Couple Swarm Hosts here. Awkwardly fly a bunch of Locust. At least some drones are falling though. Or some probes rather are falling. Nidus Worm goes up in the main base. We already have Stalkers though also inside of the main base here of the Zerg. And I think the Stalker ball is just not something that Scarlett can really hold. She may still have a bunch of units remaining. But after leading this series 2-1, it is ultimately Astrea who obtains the victory 3-2. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please take the 1 second that it takes to hit the like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, you can also join these absolute bosses and legends that are scrolling across your screen right now over at patreon.com/LowkoTV. For now though, have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to smile. And I hope to see you once again very soon for another video.